Hey guys, it's Ryan Holman, founder of Sales Recruiting University, back with another weekly video. We're not going to do a screenshot video this week. I actually wanted to talk through a recent client that went from 1 to 5 million bucks. If you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see it's the most recent video testimonial close to this video that was posted. And there was a few things that put them in a place to be able to do that over a year period. In 2021, they did 1 million bucks in revenue, and last year they did 5 million in 2022. And that wasn't just about the recruiting process, right? Pumping the reps into the system. They went heavy into the training and coaching around compensation, training, and management, because all those things are technically what ends up retaining to people, resulting into sales production. And the sales production is what actually allows you to go from 1 to 5 million or 1 to 2 million or whatever the metrics are. And so there was one thing, we were on a coaching call, and this client was talking to other clients, and he listed off like 4 or 5 things that put them in a place last year to be able to go from 1 to 5 million bucks. And I just wanted to do a video about one of them, which was compensation related, because I know this will be valuable for at least a few of you watching this video. And so for some context too, when clients come on board with us, we have 6 different commission-based compensation plans that if a company doesn't have a compensation plan, or if they want to improve upon their commission-based compensation plan, we'll direct them on what fits best for them based on their sales cycle, their needs, their budget, all those kind of things. And one of those is an all-commission compensation plan. But within that, there's activity or performance-based onboarding compensation. And I'll dive into that more, but that's pretty much what I want to talk about today. And so to backtrack a little bit, the foundation of this commission-based compensation plan that includes activity or performance-based onboarding compensation, at the foundation of it is called something the Success Blueprint. Now, that's what we call it. This is what we help clients create to be the kind of the high-level structure of their onboarding process. But to give you kind of a quick overview, the Success Blueprint, which is kind of the foundation of this compensation plan I'm talking about, the Success Blueprint is what it takes for the average Joe or average Jane to ramp up into the sales position, right? All of us want top 10 percenters, but the majority of the marketplace are not top 10 percenters. People like you and me, like you watching the video, like me, we can be thrown into any type of opportunity and wing it in a different industry and kill it in the sales role. That is not the normal person. It'd be cool if all of our recruits were like that, but that's not reality. And so first, we talk about the 10-30-60 rule, which is like, hey, you got the top 10 percenters. They can be thrown into anything and have success. You still want to have a good process, good management, good comp, good leadership, a good culture, so that when you get the top 10 percenters, you can retain them. But the point of the 10-30-60 rule is understanding, okay, we're not creating our onboarding structure based around the 10%. We're going to base it around the middle 30%, and the bottom 60% kind of cycle out, right? The 10-30-60 rule, top 10 percenters, they're high performers. The middle 30%, that's the average Joe that will show up with a good attitude. They'll do the work. They align with your values. We want to be able to take that person and provide a good structure for them so they actually have a chance at success, because they're not like the top 10 percenter who can just be thrown into the streets or on the phones and wing it and see success. They need the right training, the support, the management, the leadership, the comp. They need all that stuff. And so we help our clients create their onboarding processes and training processes based on that average Joe, and then the bottom 60% cycle out. Now, the numbers are not like that exactly for every client. That's just to illustrate the point. But anyways, the Success Blueprint, what I was talking about a couple minutes ago, it's based on that middle 30%. And so what you want to do is you want to think about, what does it look like for the average Joe to ramp up into our opportunity? So let's say that I have a sales role, and this sales role is a B2B sales role. It's all commission. Right now, there's no training pay, and it's kind of a longer sales cycle. It's B2B. Maybe reps are in the field, going business to business, setting their own leads, setting their own leads, pitching their own leads, following up with their own leads, and they manage the A to Z sales cycle. And because of the nature of the role and the all commission compensation plan, you can't make money for 90 days, as an example, right? So you want to think through whatever your timeline is to ramp up, right? And that's ramping up into quota or whatever income that you're pitching. So let's say, as an example, in our recruiting process, or our quota results into a rep making whatever, 78K per year, or $1,500 a week, which is 78K. And that's kind of what we're pitching as a bare minimum income opportunity for our sales team. Well, I want to think about the average Joe and go, okay, what does it look like for the average Joe that's going to show up every single day, work full time, do the work, show up with a good attitude, not the crazy top performer that's the best of the best, but the average person that'll just show up and do the work and plug into the system conservatively. What does it look like for them to ramp up into the position? And so that's the first question. And let's say hypothetically it's 90 days, right? Well, we take that 90 days or 120 days, or maybe it's 60 days or 30 days. I don't know what it is for you, right? 30 days is going to be more on the entry level appointment setting side. For the average sales position, you're probably looking at the 60 to 90 days side. And sometimes, some opportunities have, maybe 3 to 6 months that it takes to really ramp up into the position. But let's say hypothetically it's 90 days. Well, I'm going to call that 12 weeks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse engineer those 12 weeks, day by day, Monday through Friday, or whatever the work schedule is like. Maybe you work Tuesday through Saturday and you're a direct consumer door-to-door sales force and that's your schedule. Or maybe you are whatever industry and you work Monday through Friday. It doesn't matter, but you're going to reverse engineer those hypothetical 12 weeks or whatever the timeline is, day by day, week by week, month by month. And you're going to map out everything administratively that needs to happen at the beginning, like in the initial training phase, all the activities that need to happen, the sales activities, what those sales activities results into from a production perspective, and what that production results into from an income perspective. And you map that out through those 12 weeks or 90 days or whatever the timeline is. And that ultimately provides a ton of value for your new hires and your leadership, because they know exactly what needs to happen to ramp up into that $1,500 a week or whatever the opportunity provides from a bare minimum standpoint. And so the success blueprint, to kind of move on from this topic, is just a roadmap for success day by day, exactly what needs to happen to ramp up into this commission-based sales opportunity. By the way, that idea, it doesn't need to just be a commission-based sales opportunity. It can be, operations employees. It can be a salaried sales rep, a rep with training pay. The value is the same, but we're talking about obviously a commission or primarily commission-based sales opportunity. So the all commission compensation plan that includes performance or activity-based onboarding compensation, it's based off this success blueprint. So that if a rep is following this success blueprint, then they're technically on track and doing very well in the role and tracking to be at ABC income by 60 days or 90 days or whatever the opportunity provides. And so this client that went from 1 to 5 million, and by the way, all our clients that have opportunities where maybe you can't make money for 30 to 60, 90 plus days, they don't all do this. But if it aligns with your needs and you can track it and you want to do it, then go for it, because it will help from a retention standpoint. But this client, on average, reps wouldn't make money for 100 days originally. And then they adjusted this compensation plan, and then it allowed reps to make $1,750 in their first month. And because the rep was actually producing something and bringing something into the sales pipeline, the company was confident in investing into them, if that makes sense. And so what they did is we helped them create their success blueprint, so they knew confidently what needs to happen day by day, week by week, throughout the ramp up for a rep to be on track, which means that rep is not only succeeding in the role, which is important for themselves, but they're providing the value for the company that shows, hey, this person's going to be here long term and they're going to produce and they're bringing in revenue. And so when you have the success blueprint and you understand the metrics, then what you can start to do is you can start to bonus people out as they hit certain benchmarks throughout the success blueprint. So hypothetically, maybe that's week 1's training. And then week 2, they're setting appointments. I don't know what your sales model is, but let's say week 2, they're setting appointments. And your bare minimum expectation is for them to set their first 6 appointments in week 2, and their show-up rate's maybe not going to be good because they're just getting through that learning curve. And they're going to set 6 at least and have 2 to 3 sit-down appointments for you or a closer or themselves or whatever. That's just a hypothetical, like high-level benchmark. And maybe that's your week 2, and because they're setting appointments, you're confident in giving them a few $100 at that benchmark, right? And giving them a little bonus for being on track with the success blueprint, because production is starting to come into the pipeline. This person is showing up with a good attitude and doing the work. And therefore, I want to put them in a place to collect money a little bit earlier to help retain them through the ramp-up period. Now, again, you may hear that, and you may be like a lot of our clients, and you can't do that. Like we have a lot of financial services, insurance, real estate clients that, reps have to get their licensing. And because of that piece, it takes them, 60, 90 plus days to kind of really ramp up into the position. In those opportunities, they don't do stuff like this usually, right? Sometimes it's common for clients that are in direct to consumer opportunities, like maybe roofing, where a lot of the times you don't make money for 90 days, or a B2B sales role where you don't make money for 60, 90 days. It's sometimes common for clients to do this. You don't have to do it to hit your recruiting needs. It will just help with retention and recruiting, actually, because the rep knows that they're going to make money earlier. But you start to bonus people based on them hitting benchmarks in the blueprint, and they start to collect money earlier, which gets them more excited about their opportunity, helps them get through that ramp-up period, helps retain them through that ramp-up period, right? Versus not making money for several months or whatever the timeline is. And that brings value to the organization. And you just pay out on benchmarks that you're confident investing around because okay, leads are coming in, sales are getting in. And although when we complete a sale, our rep doesn't make money for 30 to 60 days or whatever the reason is, we feel confident in investing in this person at this like little activity or this benchmark because they're doing their job and showing up, and we want to retain this person. And so my point is although there were several things that helped this client go from 1 to 5 million, this was one of the big things that helped them attract more quality people, retain more people, and increase their revenue or sales production per rep compared to what they were doing before, because they were actually recruiting and retaining more quality people. And that's one of the reasons, ultimately taking their 100-day average of collecting an income and bringing it down to within 30 days, that was one of the big pieces that allowed them to go from 1 to 5 million, right? 500% growth, which is huge, okay? And so I hope this made sense. I hope you got value out of it. Again, if this doesn't fit into your budget or if it doesn't align with your opportunity, this is not needed for everybody, or you don't have to do this. Or you can recruit and say, hey, that sounds awesome. That seems like a really valuable compensation plan that may align with our opportunity, but not right now. I want to get some reps going and making money and increasing, profitability and revenue, and then I'll focus on that. Last note, when you do this and you have your success blueprint, okay, if you go with this compensation plan, again, it's 1 out of our 6 options for our clients. If you go with this, one of the things that's really important is if you're doing these random benchmarks that are outside of the general compensation plan, it's something that you need to track, okay? And sometimes if you don't have really good tracking systems, you got to do it manual. And sometimes if that's the case, then it's too much of a pain to worry about it. And maybe you do that later, or maybe take that idea and make it a little bit different. Like as an example, you can take that same kind of blueprint, and instead of having weekly benchmarks, you base it off a month, right? And it's like they hit all the benchmarks within the blueprint in the first 4 weeks, and bonus, $1,000 or whatever. But that production is coming in, so you're confident in investing in them. Anyways, that's it for today. I hope you guys got value. If you did, drop a comment, your questions, like, subscribe, share, and we'll look forward to the next video. Thanks.